Well, when we learned about the trials from the beginning, we asked to be informed and we asked that we could participate in the trials and add our experience to them. And we were promised a process that would allow for that, that would allow us to see what was going on and for us to have a say. Unfortunately, from the beginning until this day, there has been anything but a transparent process. There has been obfuscation, there has been secrecy, and it really has been to the detriment of the integrity of this process. Our members are very concerned that it was a sham from the beginning, and I'd have to say from what we're seeing, it does look like a sham. Initially there were 3 plants that were meant to be in the trial. We later learned that 2 of them dropped out. Initially we were told it was a 6-month trial. We still don't know whether it's still going or finished, that we get conflicting information about that. Where it's the only meat plant in New Zealand where we're not allowed to visit our members, and we're taking legal proceedings against the meat company for the trial. What are the protocols around the trial? None of those things have been revealed to us. We've taken the steps of getting official information at requests, and yet we're still, we got a response to that was less than edifying, and we still really haven't got a good picture of what's going on, and we're concerned that the trial process will be completed, decisions will be made before anyone's had a chance to look at what's really gone on and what's been happening there. Well, at the beginning of the trial, when we met with the Minister of Food Safety, Kate Wilkinson, who had officials in her office, we raised the concerns that we had about, conflict of interest with the meat companies and doing their own inspection and so on. And we also said to her, are the markets who are going to be getting the meat from this trial, are they aware of it, what it's about and how it's going to work? And we were assured that of course they knew all about it, and the trial would be starting in the following week. Then we were in contact with the Food and Water Watch, a consumer group in Washington, and we talked to them about that, and they had no knowledge of it. We understand they spoke to their own regulators.
Washington recently, can you tell us what reaction you got?
Yeah, we were there just before Easter, and we were warmly received by the consumer groups there, who set up a busy schedule for us. We met with consumer groups, we met with other union people, we met with staff of politicians, and we actually met with the US Department of Agriculture, the regulator in the States, which was ironic given that we can't get access to the regulators in New Zealand or the politicians in New Zealand. But Washington is interested in what we've got to say. They were very interested in what we had to say about the lack of transparency in New Zealand, about what we're seeing in this trial, and about our concerns. They share the fundamental concern that there is an inherent conflict of interest when a producer does its own inspection. They also were very concerned about the issues around faecal contamination, and how the regulators told our delegates here in New Zealand that they considered that to be more of an issue for the housewife, because they should be able to cook that problem away, which is a hot point for American consumer groups, because in fact that's resulted in deaths when meat products with faecal contamination haven't been properly cooked. The regulators in the States, we were interested to hear from them. Have they seen the protocols, the methodology, the scope and so on of this trial? And they confirmed for us that they have not seen a final written copy of any of those things. And while they weren't obviously going to say too much more to us, we thought that was a real concern, and they were greatly interested in our perspectives on this trial and the issues around it. We were at pains to point out to them that our objective was to make sure if there are any changes in regulations, they are done with people's eyes wide open, that the American regulators are obviously free to make their own decisions, and they should do that, but given the level of obfuscation and secrecy in New Zealand, we would hope that they have a much better experience in that, and that they make considered and wise decisions, or else our export market is at risk.